afternoon, everybody. It's April 2nd, and it's been a chilly morning of about 40 degrees, but we're about ready to embark on a little journey up the road. We've got Bill and Lady, and we are going to take 2 wagons and a skid steer up the road. As you can see, it's pretty muddy, but we're going to take 2 wagons up the road so that Jim can have them both up there to load up with logs. We're going to bring 1 load back of some logs that have been up there since last fall. He wants to get them home. And he's also taking the logging cart up, and he's going to load it with a skid steer, and then I'm going to drive the skid steer behind. So here's Jim getting ready to load the cart on. Quite a caravan. Well, we have arrived with the big caravan. Felt like I was in a parade. The only spectators were our cows out to pasture, and 1 vehicle went by. So now the plan is to load up some of this wood, get the, I don't know if he's going to unload the cart right now, but he's going to load up some of this wood, and then we'll head on home. Oops, he's got a over your ear, babe. There. Lady's getting a little impatient. Jim loves his horses, but he also loves his skid steer. And he told me he wasn't going to put much of a load on, but he always seems to like to freight it right to the max as far as I'm concerned. But I'm sure they probably are not that heavy of logs because they've been sitting there all winter long. What's that little pole for?
Firewood.
Thought maybe it was a pole for an implement. Guess it's too big for that.
A lot of this wood has been sitting here too long to be worth much anyways. It's poor quality stuff. It'll either make it into something. Oh! Throw it into the firewood pile. To the outdoor furnace. Oh. Oh. Ooh. Careful there.
I don't understand why they want to run with it. I think they're standing there guessing how much it's going to weigh when you start pulling it. It's just a nice ride down through here. Our son, when he was growing up, Levi, he spent a lot of time up here by himself and with friends, hunting and doing whatever boys do, I guess, and
Fishing.
fishing. Yeah, we have a small brook. Spent a lot of time fishing. There are a lot of deer up here, and there are some pretty good bucks have been gotten off this land. Wanted to give you an update on our Amish neighbors down the road. I went for a run this morning and I saw her out. She was, I had a little washing tub outside. It was, I don't know, 7, 8 o'clock. And she was washing her clothes. It was about, it was only like 40 degrees out. And I hollered hello and she hollered good morning back. And I see that they have an outhouse there now, and they have a little path from the house to the barn, and looks like they're settled in. They had people coming and going with buggies with helping them to set up last week after their wedding, so I guess they're nice and settled in now if you watch that video on our Amish neighbors. And we're continuing on with the COVID crisis. Things at our hospital have been, well, they're getting a little bit more close to home, and we're starting to restructure. My job has changed. My hours have been increased, and I have working in our department of ambulatory surgery has turned into a ER overflow, so I'll be working there full time for the next, I don't know how long, but I usually work part-time, and I said I'd work whenever they needed me to some degree, but I'm going to be working full-time. So I've just noticed an air of people being very, it's hard to reorganize. There's a lot of tension, and I'm very appreciative of the leaders, whether they be leaders of the country or leaders of our state, leaders of local governments, or even where I work. I appreciate them. I know they have to make a lot of quick decisions, and sometimes they get a lot of flack for it, but I think they're doing the best they can, and I wouldn't want to be them, so I'm really grateful for them and think they're doing a good job, and think that we all need to give them a little grace and pray for them. I love this rocky ground and the moss-covered rocks. I think they're so beautiful. Still a little wet, but we've had some rain. But we were talking to our family in Vermont, and they still have some snow, so I'm glad not to have that. And this is another house of our other neighbor, who she also lives alone and lost her husband a couple years ago. And Ken was a dear friend of ours, and he spent many hours with Jim doing many different things. He always helped Jim. Soon after we moved here, he began to come down and visit Jim almost every day, or sometimes multiple times a day, and he would just hang around with Jim and do whatever needed to be done sometimes, or he'd come visit Jim when he was up in the woods, and sometimes in the winter he would build a little fire and hang out for a while, and he helped us fix many things here and there. He was a jack of all trades, and we've just been blessed to have some really good and helpful neighbors when we really needed them, especially when we were starting out and had very little or next to nothing. And we've been talking about how hard it would be to have all the economic things going on that are right now if we were just young and starting out and didn't have ourselves established. And we were so blessed to have neighbors that helped, and family. And when we were getting established here, when we bought the farm and moved up, today's the day.
No,
April 1st. Oh, it was yesterday. I didn't even think about that yesterday. We moved here 28 or 29 years ago.
91.
Yeah. So however old Trudy is, 28, I think. She's gonna be 28. Years ago, and I remember that, so excited moving up here and starting out with a farm, and we really didn't have much of anything. We had a lot of animals. Why we brought all those animals up here, I don't know. Tractor trailer loads of stuff.
We came up with 14 head of horses. We had 2 stallions, I don't know how many mares and colts. Too many.
And a bunch of cows. We had a bunch of heifers, and we were rich in livestock, but that was about it. And the house still needs a lot of work, but it really needed work back then. We didn't have a front door, and there was a bird's nest in the window, and so God's been good to us, and people have been very kind to us, very helpful, and we've had to work hard, but wouldn't trade it. Oh yeah, this is my neighbor's house, and I work with her at the hospital. It's kind of cool it worked out that way, but we ended up working in the same department. So I even actually got to ride to work with her last Saturday, but which doesn't often happen, but we're glad to have them for neighbors. They're very nice people, very nice family. It's none too warm today. Ooh. Well, this road has been very quiet since the everybody's supposed to stay home. Really noticed a difference in the traffic. Here's our pasture field. The cows keep down nice. Jim also flips it every year, and that helps it to stay looking nice. There's a field up in the back that you can't see from here. We'll have to show you that sometime.
We reclaimed that from woods.
Yep. Had it all, what do you call it? All chopped off and then stumped. And then, oh my goodness, did we ever pick stones? Stones and stones and stones and stones. There's still tons of stones up there, but I guess it's good enough now that we can still deal with it. Cows are waiting for the next feeding. They seem to like to hang around right that spot, just in case Jim comes out with more hay. I'm surprised I don't see any deer in our field right now. They've been out constantly. We've had deer out there, and sometimes a dozen, or I think I counted 18 one time. And you can see why this is called pasture right here, because it's full of rocks. Hey, cows. Closing thoughts from Working Horses with Jim. Wash your hands, don't touch your face, and make sure with everyone around you, you have a little space. And don't forget to click the subscribe and tap the bell if you want more videos to be reminded of the videos to come.